Let's get some takeaways. Dex's top five, that is. New York got game. Dexter Henry is going to give us his top five takeaways from the new New York Knicks season opening win at the Garden last night. Dex, what's happening, my man? Big win. Franchise on
Yeah,
cloud nine after game one of 82. But I guess let's start with your biggest takeaways from that win last night.
no, it was a good win for the Knicks, 119 to 111 over the Cavaliers at home. Brandon, you always want to get off to a good start in your season opener. I think there's a lot of things for Knicks fans to take away. Again, I will caution this is just one game. But if I had to say what I thought the biggest takeaway was, just how different this team looked compared to last year. And you look at that offensively and defensively. Number one, offensively, you saw the ball move a lot more. That's something you didn't see under former head coach Tom Thibodeau. The ball would stick, and you saw different guys, using the ball, shooting the ball, passing the ball, looking at different things and how the offense flows. So I thought that was very encouraging, especially for a team that is installing a new offense with a new head coach in Mike Brown. Then even defensively, there were some things I liked. In fact, you saw the Knicks pick up guys full court playing 94 feet. That's something you did not see a lot under Thibodeau. They would pick guys once they came across the half court, sometimes near the three-point line. So just seeing those wrinkles were very encouraging. I think the other thing when you look at how different this team was, Brandon, was that Mike Brown went 11 deep here. 11 players played at least 8 minutes in this game. 10 of the players that played at least 12 minutes in this game. That was very encouraging, something Knicks fans have been calling for. Let's see what some of these young guys have. You saw that in this game. And that leads me to another takeaway. Tyler Kolek was huge in this game for the Knicks, providing a steady hand as a backup point guard. He played 14 minutes. He did have 7 points and a couple of assists. Did he get attacked defensively? Sure, he did, but I thought he held his own pretty good, and that's a very encouraging sign for the Knicks when you saw Malcolm Brogdon retire, and there was questions about who can hold down that backup point guard spot. Well, Tyler Kolek, at least for one game, he looked like he could do that too. Another takeaway for me that I have here is Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby. Now, Cat was doubtful earlier in the day on Wednesday, but then did play. We found out that he has a grade 2 quad strain. He toughed it out and played well through that. I mean, look, you know this, Brandon, as a former professional athlete, whenever you have a guy in your team tough it out and shows he can play, that is something that can uplift the team. Town said after the game, he thought it was important to show up for the fans. He didn't want to disappoint the fans. Now, I think that is something to watch. It is a grade 2 quad strain. It is a quad. It isn't a hamstring, a little bit more muscle around there, but it's something to watch with Towns and how they manage and monitor his minutes going forward. OG Anunoby also had been dealing with some knocks and ankle injury there, but he was able to come through, and he had a really strong game on the board. So it was very impressive for both of those guys, despite dealing with some nagging injuries, that they were able to get it through. And then the last thing for me, Brandon, would have to be the Knicks' resilience in this game. The Knicks had multiple runs of their own. The Cavs came back in the third quarter. Donovan Mitchell had a huge third quarter in which he looked unstoppable. The Cavs took the lead, but the Knicks responded right back, a big 14-0 run in the fourth quarter to close the door. So that's something you want to see from your team early on. Do they have the fight? This sets the foundation for a lot of things in the season for the Knicks, but overall, I think it was a really good performance. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Mike Brown manages the rotations going forward. Will he play 11 deep? Maybe not every night, but I think the fact that more guys got some burn, got some run, there's more diversity in the offense. I think this could bode well for the Knicks going forward. So there's some great takeaways, and I think reasons the Knicks fans should be encouraged even further about this season going after game one of 82.
Let's stay with Cat and go into a little bit more detail about his usage on offense, because just as like Monday, he was being coy with the media about, I don't know my role. He could have been playing around or, just again, trying to be a little bit of be coy. What's your biggest takeaway about Cat's usage in this new offense?
Well, I think you got to look at a lot of the spots they're going to have him in. Mike Brown likes to use his big men, his centers. I know Cat's playing a lot more of the four right now to sort of be an offensive hub. Can you make passes from the top of the key? We saw a little bit of that from Cat. You also saw he still has the ability to attack off the dribble, which Cat did. It doesn't always look graceful with Cat, but he was able to do that and attack. And I thought that was very impressive despite dealing with this grade 2 quad strain. Cat also got some threes up. I think some fans and even people in the media that are covering the Knicks would like to see him get some more threes up. You saw him get some up off of some pick and roll action. You saw that a little bit. You also saw him get the ball in the post and then, quickly attack. I thought Cat was more decisive than we've seen him in the past before. And look, I thought Brandon, with him being a little coy with the media the other day, was he doesn't know. I didn't think it was something to worry about. He's still going to try to figure things out. When you have a new offense and players are trying to adapt to Mike Brown's system, yeah, he doesn't know exactly how he's going to look in this new offense or what exactly he can produce. But I thought it was encouraging that he had a double double. I thought it was very encouraging that he played the minutes. He played 31 minutes and he still looked very good. He didn't look like a liability on defense. He held his own against the bigs of the Cavs. And that's will be the big thing with Cat. What does he do in the playoffs? How does he hold up on the defensive end, especially hopefully when Mitchell Robinson is back there to anchor the defense? But I thought offensively he looked good in certain spots. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets to the corners more and gets some shots there. Would like to see some more threes from him in this Knicks offense, but I thought overall Cat looked good in game one.
Lastly, again, 1 of 82, a lot of good things, but they also gave up a double-digit lead. They were able to fight back, close the game out, but are there any question marks or takeaways within what can get this team beat or what can hurt this team in the future?
Yeah, I mean, you got to put it all in context too, right, Brandon, as well, because they were playing a Cavs team that was without 3 of their top 5 players. I know the Knicks were without 2 of their top 6 players here. So you want to put this game in a little bit of context. Now, they did blow leads, double-digit leads twice in this game. So you want to say, okay, you'd like to see your team hold on to that and not let go of the rope. But you got to give them credit. They did fight back. Once they got punched in the mouth in the third quarter, they did fight back immediately. So I do think that's a good sign. There are some things that I still think they can clean up on defense. It's game 1 of 82, in terms of rotations and things of that nature. But I think a lot of guys are going to get used to each other, playing with each other. They did play 11 deep, so certain guys are going to say, okay, I'm used to playing with this guy in this spot. How do I adjust my rotations defensively? What's the communications going to be like? Those are things we're going to see as we see different lineup combinations, especially we saw Mike Brown. He talked about this after the game, that he's going to be experimenting with different lineups, which I think is a great thing for this Knicks team. That's what the regular season is for. It's time to experiment with different lineups. It's time to see what you have from different players, and they got to get a look at that. So I think as that goes on, guys are going to get more comfortable. But despite the guys not being comfortable and this being a new system and all that, I think seeing what they did offensively, the offense looked good, Brandon, but it's still nowhere near what it can be, right? It's still not humming at a great level. It looked good for a first game, but there's still a lot more, and you didn't have 2 of your top 3 rebounders in this game. And I thought one thing I didn't even note, I will add this here. The Knicks were very impressive on the glass, out-rebounded the Cavaliers by 16. They won the offensive rebounding edge. I thought that was impressive with no Mitchell Robinson and no Josh Hart in this game. But yeah, there are things they can clean up for sure on the defensive end and the offensive end. I'll be really intrigued to see what they do on Friday against the Celtics, a team that's going to try to hunt some of the weaker defenders on the Knicks, a team that's going to try to get up a lot of three-point shots. They're going to have their hands full in the way the Celtics play. So they're going to get tested early defensively, and we're going to see how they're able to clean up some of those things and the mistakes that we saw from them on Wednesday night.
All in all, great opening night. A lot to look forward to when it comes to this team. Great job by Mike Brown, winning the crowd, winning the Garden over on his debut. Dexter Henry, really quick, shout out New York Got Game, man. Tell the people what they can expect this season.
Yeah, gonna expect a lot of stuff from New York Got Game this season. We'll be doing some more watch parties like we had last night in the season opener. Shout out to DJ Rhea, the homie who came through. We are also doing a live show today, our Knicks Weekly Live show. We'll preview the matchup with the Celtics on Friday. You'll have your episodes every week from us dropping on Mondays at noon. So definitely check that out. Tap in to New York Got Game. A lot of Knicks content coming the rest of this season.
25 plus weeks. I appreciate you, Dex, hopping on with us this morning, my man.